This is going to be very, very informal. And it's really just a thank you to all of you. Let me introduce the folks from my staff that I have with me, and then maybe we'll go around the room and have everybody introduced. And then I'm going to give a little thank you and sort of status report, and then we'll open it up. Love to take questions, take your advice. But Gwen Mason, Gwen is my Roanoke office director, and the Roanoke region includes this beautiful part of the world, and her family has a place in Highland County, so Gwen has been very focused on all the issues related to George Washington National Forest since I came in to the Senate, and does it with a great deal of skill, but also personal passion. Nick Barbash, Nick works in my office in DC and does all environmental, ag, transportation. What are the other 5 areas that I make you do everything on? Environmental, ag, and transportation. That is a lot. And he's pretty busy right now between environment and ag and tariffs. We have another trade guy, but Nick is involved in some of those too, and transportation issues. But Nick has done a lot of anything we do on the Farm Bill. The bill that we introduced last fall, Nick and the equivalent staffer, who's the staffer in Mark's office you work with?
Micah Barber.
Micah Barber, Nick and Micah worked on the bill that we introduced that was the fruit of your guys' labor. Karis is an intern for me this summer in the Roanoke office. And Karis, where do you go to school?
Virginia Tech.
So Karis is at Virginia Tech, and then Tyler is a staff member of mine from DC who works as my executive assistant. So he's the sad guy that has to travel with me all the time, which is really a bad job. So I want to say some things, but before I do, why don't we go around the room and everybody introduce themselves, including any members of the press. You guys are not reviewing, you have to introduce yourself.
I'm Ford Carson with WFXR News out of Roanoke. We're Channel 8, the Fox affiliate.
Thanks, Ford.
I'm Sarah Francisco. I direct the Virginia office of the Southern Environmental Law Center.
Sure, you in Charlottesville, Richmond.
I'm in Charlottesville. That's where our Virginia office is based. And we do have one staff person in Richmond, one attorney as well.
Got it. I love the way she says we have a staff person in Richmond and an attorney as well. An attorney is like not a person.
Actually, he is an attorney and staff, though. He's just one guy, right?
Oh, I see.
Good afternoon, I'm Joe Tim. I'm the Forest Supervisor in the George Washington Jefferson National Forest.
Joe, great. Thank you.
I'm Pat Sheridan. I'm retired district ranger from the Warm Springs Ranger District.
Excellent, Pat. And do you live right close?
Stanton.
Okay, super. Thank you.
I'm Blair Schleif. I'm the pretty much brand new director of the Allegheny Highlands program for the Nature Conservancy.
Thank you. Said I was just at the overlook up above, the Ingalls Overlook, which is very beautiful. I know that's part of the Nature Conservancy.
Northern tip of our mountains.
Yeah.
I'm Jean Lorbert. I'm a scientist with the Nature Conservancy attached to this region.
Great. Thank you.
I'm Wayne Thacker. I'm a member of the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation's Virginia State Leadership Team and the chair of the Virginia Wildlife Habitat Coalition.
Hi, I'm Kristen Davis. I'm a lawyer and human in the Charlottesville office of the Southern Environmental Law Center.
Thank you, Kristen.
I'm Al Bourgeois. I'm a district wildlife biologist with the Virginia Game Department, and I have Highland Bath, Allegheny, Rockbridge, and Augusta County.
How long have you been with the state?
30 years.
So you were with DGF when I was governor?
Yes. Yep.
Good deal. Thanks.
Hi, Steve Nicely, Virginia Bear Hunters Association, also with the Wildlife Coalition, Virginia Deer Hunters Association, Virginia Hunting Dog Alliance.
Excellent. Thank you.
I'm Jerry Clark with the AlleghenyJournal.com and Journal TV in Allegheny County.
Hey, Jerry. Thanks.
Hi, everybody. I'm Bill Hodge with Southern Appalachian Wilderness Stewards. Our office here in Virginia is in Roanoke.
Thank you.
I'm Darrell Boyson. I'm with the Virginian Review newspaper down in Covington.
I'm Beth LeMaster. I'm the Deputy Forest Supervisor of the George Washington and Jefferson National Forest.
And how long was the Forest Service been?
With the Forest Service, I've been, a little over 30 years now.
Wow.
In Virginia for about a year and a half.
Excellent. Thanks.
I'm Anders Reynolds. I live in Washington, D.C., where I work for the Pew Charitable Trust on their Public Lands Conservation Program.
Thank you.
And I'm Lynn Cameron, co-chair of Friends of Shenandoah Mountain. I live in the Shenandoah Valley.
Laura Hill, Virginia Wilderness Committee.
Excellent.
I'm Elizabeth McNichols. I'm the current district ranger on the James River and Warm Springs District. We've got 36 years of the forest.
Is that right? Wow. How long here in Virginia?
A little 2.5.
Okay. Super.
Joe Beth Brown. I'm the Jefferson National Forest, 29 and 1/2 years.
I'm Tina Lipscomb. I'm with the Allegheny Journal TV in Allegheny County.
Mike Bollinger with the Recorder, the local newspaper covers Bath and High.
Quinn Mason with Senator Kaine's office, headed to Allen County Rapids meeting.
John Hutchison, President of Virginia Wilderness.
Okay, thank you a lot. Two people who wanted to be here today that were not able to be here, I think with the Wilderness Committee, is Mark Miller, who's not able to be here, and obviously was really critical, and then John Hancock with West Rock and Virginia Forestry Association. Both extend their regret. So I'm here because I got to do a debate tomorrow, and that's like root canal. So getting ready for debates. So I just figured, well, I would like to do something enjoyable while I'm here, and I've really enjoyed working with you on this bill that Mark and I introduced last October that is now part of the Farm Bill. And I'm not on the public lands committees in the Senate, but I have a real passion about public lands. When I was governor, we did an initiative to try to preserve 400,000 acres of open space, which was a very big cooperative effort that involved not only state purchasing land, but working together with a lot of the land trusts, especially the Civil War Battlefield Trust, where we were able to preserve all or part of about 23 Civil War battlefields. So this combination of individuals using the state conservation easement tax credit, organizations like land trusts that help them do it and then often hold the easement, and then state institutions and localities working together. It's sort of a great model of trying to have everybody work together. When I came into the Senate, and then I was not on the public lands committees directly, I nevertheless have tried to really focus on these issues. Thad Cochran, Republican from Mississippi, who recently retired, he and I did the reauthorization of the Battlefield Protection Bill a few years back and broadened it from Civil War to also include Revolutionary War and War of 1812 battlefields. And I'm very selfish in this. If you have a national program to preserve Revolutionary War, Civil War, and War of 1812 battlefields, Virginia gets most of the money. And we have done very, very well with that program. With the reauthorization, we added thousands of acres to the Petersburg battlefield. We've added a lot of acres to Newmarket recently. We just announced to the combined set of battlefields in and around Fredericksburg. And so we really like working on public lands issues. This one is an interesting one, and I just really am here to thank you, give you a little status report, but really mostly to thank you. I have not had the experience in Virginia of public lands issues being super controversial. I'm sure there have been some controversies here. But I remember when I was governor, the 400,000 acre initiative was very bipartisan. Bill Howell, my Republican speaker, we disagreed on a lot. We were friends, we disagreed on a lot. But on public lands and open space preservation, we worked so closely together. And it was a nonpartisan issue. But now that I'm up in the Senate, I watch, and this would especially be true in western states, public lands issues being very, very controversial. I mean, standoffs and arrests and really serious stuff. And getting all the stakeholders on the same table, environmental community, local officials, farming and ranching interests, timber interests, getting everybody on the same table has been extremely difficult. And so that was an eye-opener for me coming to the Senate and seeing how controversial public lands issues are in other places. And so that sort of made me realize, I guess I shouldn't take it for granted when stakeholders work well together. This wilderness area, the wilderness area within the George Washington National Forest goes back to the days of Rick Boucher and John Warner, I think back to 1988, with the initial designation of wilderness area. And then there have been additions to it, I think in the late 90s and then maybe as recently as 2009. So I want to thank Rick and John. I'm very close to both of them and still talk to them about it, everybody who's come before who's worked on these issues. But Mark and I were very excited to be able to put this in, but we weren't going to put it in if there hadn't been this kind of consensus that we've been able to reach together. And I just wanted to tell you, I understand that it's rare, it doesn't happen by accident. And I think we have a very good chance of making it happen. This is a thank you for your effort, not a celebration of it being done, because it's not quite done yet. We have a farm bill that we are in conference with between the Senate version and the House version, our provision of open space here and the wilderness designation in Bath is part of the Senate bill, not part of the House bill. there is a big controversy in Farm Bill. It is the perennial controversy over the SNAP program, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance. I still think of it as food stamps back from my earlier days. That tends to be a thorny controversy that is always tough right at the start. The Senate, in a bipartisan way, supports the program. The House usually wants to cut a lot out of it. We usually work that out. That it's such a serious issue that the Senate is not willing to do the bill, Democrat or Republican, until we reach a point of satisfaction on that. And so we usually stay at the table until we do, and we usually do. And I think we will. This is the kind of thing where the SNAP program is controversial. This should not be. I will just say that there are members in the House who are not wild about public lands issues. This is not the addition of public land, it's taking the existing public land and upping the designation. So in the past, Congressman Goodlatte has had some questions about adding public land, and I think there's a congressman from Georgia, Congressman Bishop, that's had similar concerns. But because this isn't adding public land, but just changing the designation, it should be less controversial. But the other thing that makes it less controversial is that all the stakeholders are are around the table together. We're not hearing from anybody in our office who's saying don't do this. We're hearing we've worked very, very hard together to reach an accord, to make the compromises that we should make so that we're all on the table. So I feel good about it. I would encourage you to continue to advocate, especially with Congressman Goodlatte. As you know, he's not running for re-election. So I think in the 6th District, this is a real pinnacle thing in terms of preserving natural resources, and we work with Congressman Goodlatte's office, both Senator Warner and I, to express why we think it's a big priority. And again, I don't have any reason to expect a challenge, but again, until it's done, it's not done. Pleasant encouragement rather than obnoxious pressure. Pleasant encouragement should be the word of the day. But I really just want to thank all of you for doing it together. And it's impressive. You guys at the Pew Center must see, public lands issues too, where there's an awful lot of, agitation among stakeholders and not necessarily everybody around the table together. And I think this can be a real model for it. So thank you for that. And I'd love to open it up and just take questions or take advice or, what would you like me to know as I'm back in DC next week and continuing to work to get, I'm not a conferee, but I'm talking to the conferees as we're continuing to work on getting the Farm Bill over the goal line. What do you want me to take back with me?
This may be better for someone from the Forest Service, but what is the benefit to the public of the additional acres of wilderness?
Yeah, and I think all the stakeholders might have thoughts on that, so I'll let you guys answer first and then I'll offer some thoughts, but please, go ahead.
I guess I would just, this is Joe from the Forest Service. I would add that, the benefits to the public really are the wilderness characters that people enjoy, that people want to go out and experience, and the wilderness character that is associated with solitude, with undeveloped landscapes. So I think that's the true treasure that we can leave with the public.
But other thoughts? Why did other stakeholders, why did you feel it was important to engage in this and do it?
Well, I'm not a stakeholder, so I want to say a couple things real quick as a Johnny-come-lately to the process, but working in similar processes across the rest of the Appalachians, your guys' ability to work together as a model, Wayne and I were just talking about this in the parking lot, what you guys achieved at finding common ground is incredible, and I think it's something that we can point to from other places around the country as an example of how people who have different interests can get together and find common ground and find an ability to move important stuff like this before. And building on what Job said about the values of wilderness, I look at it as an anchor at one end of the spectrum of public lands, and it's an important anchor. That at one end we have the pristine, the primitive, and the natural, but we also have the need for all those other places up and down the spectrum for public lands as well. So
I'll offer my thought as a mayor and governor and senator who's done economic development work. Virginia is always flirting with being in the top 10 states in terms of tourism, and I think tourism is a really good pillar to have as part of your economy. And I'm not a professional tourism person, so I don't know that a tourism person would describe it this way. But if I'm thinking about tourism, I think there's sort of three kinds. I think you have natural tourism, you have sort of cultural tourism, you have historical tourism. So history, Civil War battlefields, things like that are historical. Cultural would be the Barter Theater in Abingdon, Wolf Trap, wonderful cultural assets. But natural tourism, from Assateague to Cumberland Gap and everything in between, is really, really important. Virginians and others love having, they have their special place that they want to go to. And they love that place. Might be a seashore, might be a mountain, might be a trail. They love that place, but they also really would like it to be there for their kids and their grandkids. In addition, folks who want to come from other states, I just stopped at, was it Sheila's Burgers and Shakes? Sarah's Burgers and Shakes in Craigslist. And it's very good. But the people who pulled it after me, West Virginia license plate, pulling a big trailer, so they're either coming through Virginia or to Virginia to take advantage of some tourism opportunities here. So I think wilderness areas, as you say, part of the spectrum. In the Forest Service, you got the Hidden Valley Campground really close, which is like my favorite campground in Virginia. You have a spectrum within the Forest Service, but then add to it state parks, add to it all the wildlife management areas and things that you guys manage, natural area preserves and others. We want to put this full spectrum from the developed to the completely pristine natural experiences out there for people. Really, really good for the economy.